Alright, so now we're going to talk about geometry, triangles, rectangles, and the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so whenever you're talking about a triangle, you're actually talking about two different things. You're either talking about the angles, which are there, and there, or you're talking about the side lengths, which is there, and that's from there to there, or this side is from here to here, or the B side is from here to here. So those are two different things that you could be talking about whenever you're talking about a triangle, either angle measure or side lengths. Okay, so these are three properties of triangles that you probably need to realize. So the angle measures, the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle C always adds up to be 180. So those angle measures always add up to be 180 on a triangle. This is for non-Euclidean geometry. For Euclidean geometry. For non-Euclidean, whole different story, so we're not even going to talk about that. But for now, in this class, angle measures always add up to be 180 degrees. Now the perimeter, as with any figure, you just add up all the sides. So your perimeter is A side plus B side plus C side. The area of a triangle is 1/2 your base times your height. Some people also write the area formula as base times height divided by 2, and that's okay too. Either one of these is correct, and you should come up with the same answer either way. Alright, so let's talk about how to find angle measures. Notice it says the measures of two angles, so we know that we're dealing with 180 degrees. So the measures of two angles of a triangle are 55 and 82. Find the third angle. So I've got 55 plus 82 plus, and I'm just going to call that third side x, equals 180. Now you need to add the 55 and the 82 together. You get 137 plus x is equal to 180. Now we're going to subtract 137 from both sides. And I get 43. So x is equal to 43. But 43 what? So we're talking about degrees here. So you could either put just a little bitty 0 up there. Don't make that 0 any bigger. If you make it bigger, it's going to look like 430, and that is absolutely wrong. So make sure you either write the word degrees or you put the little bitty circle up in the superscript. Okay, the perimeter of a triangular garden is 24 feet. The lengths of two sides are 4 feet and 9 feet. How long is the third side? Now in this one we're not talking about angle measures, we're talking about side lengths. And remember, perimeter is equal to A plus B plus C. And so now we're going to put this number in for P. This could be A, this could be B, it doesn't really matter which is which. And we don't know the third side. Again, combine your like terms and then subtract 13 from both sides. 11 what though? 11 feet. Since the rest of these measurements are in feet, then our answer needs to also be in feet. Okay, so on this one, the area of a triangular church window is 90 square meters. Now, the word square here does not mean that you square the number 90. That is a unit of measure that is used in area. And so area always has some unit squared. But that does not mean you square the number. Okay, so on this problem we're actually going to be using the area. Okay, so we're going to use the area formula on this one. Area is equal to 1/2 base times height, or base times height divided by 2, whichever one. So it says here the area is 90 square meters. So I'm going to put 90 in for the A. The base is 15 meters. So I've got 1/2 times 15. And I don't know the height. So I'm just going to put an H in there. And the first thing that I would do, I tend to use this more. So I would do 15H over 2. Is I would get rid of that fraction. So I would multiply both sides by 2. So 180 is equal to 15H divided by 15. And so now 180 divided by 15 is 12. So I get that my height, or my H, is 12. And what is this measured in? It's measured in meters. There we go. Okay, so right triangles are a very, very specific triangle. Right triangles have one 90-degree angle in it. And they have a lot of properties that are very useful in carpentry and all kinds of things. So the thing that you need to know about right triangles is that it's made up of legs. There's a leg and there's a leg. And then this side over here that is opposite your right angle is called your hypotenuse. And your hypotenuse is always the longest side. Always. Oops, I spelled it wrong. There we go. Hypotenuse is always the longest side. Okay, so in this problem it says one angle of a right triangle measures 28 degrees. What is the measure of the third angle? At first glance, it seems like you don't have enough information. And remember, whenever you're adding up angles, angles always add up to be 180 on triangles. So if we have that one angle of a right triangle, remember that means that one of them is 90. And so the other one measures 28. And I don't know the third. So I'm just going to call it any variable you want. It doesn't matter. And then you would subtract 118 from both sides. (62 watt). Remember, angle measures are always in degrees. So 62 degrees is our third angle. Okay, so let's look at this one. The measure of one angle of a right triangle is 20 degrees more than the measure of the smallest angle. Find the measures of all three angles. Okay, so in this one, I'm going to draw a right triangle. And I'm going to name this one the 90 degree. And it doesn't matter which one my smallest. I'm going to call one of them X. And the other one is 20 degrees more. So this would be X plus 20. So in this problem, I'm going to add up all three of these angles. So I've got my first angle, which is 90, plus my smallest angle, which is X, plus my or I shouldn't say my largest, but my next angle, which is X plus 20. And I know that all of those equal 180 degrees. So now I would combine my like terms. And I would subtract 110 from both sides. And then divide by 2. So X is equal to 35 degrees. Now how do I get my other one? My other angle is 35 plus 20. So that would be 55 degrees. So 35 degrees and 55 degrees. Okay, so remember how I taught you about the legs and the hypotenuse before? Remember, hypotenuse is always your longest side? Well, the Pythagorean theorem works only with right triangles. Only right triangles. So the Pythagorean theorem says for any right triangle, your two legs squared, and then add them together, is equal to your hypotenuse squared. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. All right, so now we have two examples of how to use the Pythagorean theorem. So if you'll notice, your legs make up the right angle. So here's a leg, and here's a leg. Okay, and what we're looking for on this one is our hypotenuse. And so we know that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And if a is 4 and b is 3, then we don't know what c is. So now we just need to do some math here to figure this out. And whenever I add 16 and 9 together, I get 25. But that's not my answer. 25 is my c squared. I only want c. And remember what squared means, some number times itself. So in order to get just plain old c, I need to take the square root. And I get square root of 25 is 5. So our length of our hypotenuse is 5. Okay, so let's try it again with this one on the right. So again, I've got, here's my A, here's my B, and it doesn't matter what order those are in. So I'm going to do 8 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared. 8 squared is 64, 6 squared is 36. And now whenever I add those together, I get 100. And again, I only want c. I don't want c squared, so I have to take the square root. So this side is equal to 10. Okay, so take a look at this one. We've got our legs are here and here, but we only know one of the legs. We don't know this leg. We'll call that one B. Our A is there, and our C is 13. So we're still going to use that same formula, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. But this time they're not put in as nice of an order as they were before because we don't know b. So 5 squared plus b squared is equal to 13 squared. So I've got 25 plus b squared is equal to 169. Now to solve for b, we do the same as we would if this were just plain old b instead of b squared. So we're still going to subtract 25 from both sides. I get that b squared is equal to 144. And now I still take the square root to get b all by itself. So b is equal to 12. And again, we don't know if it's meters or centimeters or feet, so we'll just leave it at 12 for now. Okay, on this one, Kelvin is building a gazebo and wants to brace each corner by placing a 10-inch piece of wood diagonally as shown above. If he fastens the wood so that the ends of the brace are at the same distance, that's important there, same distance from the corner, what is the length of the legs of the right triangle formed? So I'm just going to take a piece of this right triangle, and so I've got 10 here, and he wants these braces to be right there and right there. And he wants them to be the same distance. So if this is x, then this is also x. So in this case, we've got x squared plus x squared, because remember, there's your right angle, equals 10 squared. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So in this problem, again, you add your like terms, so you would get 2x squared is equal to 100. Divide both sides by 2. X squared is equal to 50. Now, this number isn't going to end up to be a nice number. We're going to get a decimal here, and they want us to approximate it to the nearest tenth of an inch. So, what you have to do, again, take the square root of both sides, so I would get x is equal to, I know this number is going to be between 7 and 8, but I don't really know the answer without using my calculator. So I would hit whenever you're typing this into your calculator, second, then your x squared button, which is your square root button, and you should get something on your screen that looks like this. And what it wants you to do now is type in the number. So now type in 50, and you can either close your parenthesis or you can just hit enter. And so you get a big long decimal that looks like this. And they say to round to the nearest tenth of an inch, so that means I want to round to this place, I have to look at this number. So this would be approximately 7.1 inches. Okay, so on this problem, John puts the base of a 13-foot ladder 5 feet from the wall of his house as shown below. How far up the wall does the ladder reach? So, let's see here. I'm going to pull this triangle out and I'm going to redraw it right here. So I know that the ladder is 13 feet and I know that the base is 5 feet. And so here's your right angle. Here's the house, but here's your right angle. So what we're looking for is we're looking for one of the legs. It could be either A or B. So I've got 5 squared plus B squared is equal to 13 squared. So 25 plus B squared is equal to 169. Subtract 25 from both sides. And then I'm going to take the square root. And so I get that B is equal to 12. And since we're dealing with feet, it's 12 feet. So that ladder reaches 12 feet up. Okay, so now we're going to talk about rectangles. And rectangles have the property of 4 right angles and opposite sides are the same length. So this side and this side are the exact same length, and this side and this side are the exact same length. And so these are some properties that you do need to know about. The perimeter is 2 times your length plus 2 times your width. You can also write that as L plus W plus W. So it just simplifies to be 2L plus 2W. Your area is your length times your width. Okay, so in this example, the length of a rectangle is 32 meters and the width is 20 meters. What is the perimeter? They're asking us for the perimeter. Perimeter is where you add up all your sides. So if the length is 32 and the width is 20, I know that this side is also 20 and this side is also 32. And so your perimeter is equal to 2 times your length plus 2 times your width. So I get that my perimeter is 64 plus 40, which is equal to 104 meters. Okay, on this problem we're looking for the area. The area of a rectangular room is 168 square feet. Again, the square part of that is the identification of its name, or how you name something that is in area form. So, and really it comes from, let me show you, it comes from, if this is 14 feet and this is W feet, this comes from 168 square feet because you have feet times feet. That's why you have to say square feet on area. All problems have square feet as their label. All right, so in this problem, remember, area is your length times your width. 14 times W, oops, I can change that A to a 168. And now to find your W, you divide both sides by 14. I get 12. So my width is equal to 12 feet. Okay, so find the length of a rectangle with a perimeter of 50 inches and a width of 10 inches. Okay, so my rectangle looks like this. It's got a perimeter of 50, so I'm going to put 50 in where I see P, and I've got a width of 10. Or whatever you want to say, and all the way around is 50. All right, so I don't know my length, And I know that my width is 10. So 50 is equal to 2L plus 20. Subtract 20. I get, oops. And so now I'm going to divide both sides by 2. 15 what though? Oh, not feet here. It's inches. Inches is what we're dealing with. So 15 inches is my width. I'm sorry, my length. Okay, so it says here the width of a rectangle is 2 feet less than the length. Okay, sometimes I have to draw my picture in order to visualize this. So if this is my length, and I know that my width is 2 feet less than that, then I know that my width is L minus 2. And the perimeter is 52. So remember, we're still using this formula. And it says my perimeter is 52. My L is just L. And my width is now L minus 2. So now I have to distribute. Remember, that times that, and that times that. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. And I'm going to add 4 to both sides. And now divide by 4. So my L is equal to 14. And so how do I get my width? I take 2 away from that. So that would be 14 minus 2, which is 12. So my length, what is this measured in? 52 feet? Okay, so my length is 14 feet, and my width is 12 feet. Okay, the length of a rectangle is 4 centimeters more than twice the width. Okay, so again, I'm going to draw my little rectangle here, and my width is W, but my length is 4 centimeters more than twice the width. And it says the perimeter is 32. So I've got 32 is equal to 2 times, my length is now 4 plus 2W. My width is just W. And now I need to distribute. And I'm going to combine my like terms. Subtract 8 from both sides. Divide by 6. So W is equal to 4. 4 what? We're dealing with centimeters here. 4 centimeters. So my width is 4 centimeters, and my length is 4 plus 2 times 4, which is 12. So 12 centimeters. Oops. So I've got my width is 4 centimeters, my length is 12 centimeters. Okay, the perimeter of a rectangular swimming pool is 150 feet. The length is 15 feet more than the width. So I've got a swimming pool. My length is 15 feet more than my width. So you take your width plus 15. And it says to find the length and the width. So if my perimeter is 150, then I've got 2 times W plus 15 plus 2W. Remember, 2 times your width times 2 times your length. Now I'm going to distribute. Subtract 30. And now divide by 4. So I get, my width is 30. My length is 30 plus 15, which is 45. So my width is 30 feet. My length is 45 feet. All right, so that's it for this lesson. If you guys have any questions, send me a message.